Hi, how's it going? And this is an AMD HT 7870. It was released back in March of 2012 with an MSRP of $349, and it was meant to beat NVIDIA's mid-range flagship at the time, which was the GTX 660 Ti. The PicCan architecture was based on a 28nm processor and was named after a British territory in the middle of the Pacific Ocean for some reason. It was part of AMD's Southern Island generation, and the architecture was based very similar to previous generations, just having more of everything inside the chip. It was boasting 2.8 billion transistors on the die, and that could produce around 2.5 teraflops of GPU performance. This was a very effective method for AMD at the time, as the card produced about the same theoretical horsepower as a standard PlayStation PS4 that was released over a year and a half later. On top of having beefy specs, AMD announced its fine wine tech, which was basically a promise to card owners that over time AMD would continue to develop and optimize its drivers and software to help games fully use the horsepower that the card had. This was a very effective method, especially given the performance, as you'll see later on. This particular card is a Gigabyte variant and features 2 gigabytes of GDDR5 memory, as well as a 10% factory overclock over the reference 1000 megahertz. Thanks to its 380mm fans, I was actually able to push this card a bit further to a stable 1230 megahertz on the core clock. Now that's a 23% increase over reference, which is not too bad for about 10 minutes of messing around in Afterburner. For reference, my test system features a Intel Core i5 4670 at 3.4 gigahertz, 8 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM, 120 gigabyte SSD, and a 550 watt generic power supply. So, how well does it perform in games? Fortnite 1080p high settings, it performed really well. We were seeing an average of about 66 FPS with some stuttering here and there, but this is a battle royale game, so kind of take it with a grain of salt. Your results may vary, but it performed really well. Same with Apex Legends, actually. These were medium to low settings at 1080p, and I got around 81.5 FPS I got on average, with very minimal stuttering, like just as we were dropping. It performed really well, and especially for Black Ops 3, I was not expecting these results, given the 660 Ti performance of the card. We were seeing about 82 FPS on average with really good 1% and 1.1% lows. This was a super smooth experience on this card, and it definitely shows how good the drivers have gotten over the years. Same with Overwatch. Overwatch at 1080p high settings, we were seeing roughly around 87 FPS with very little stutter. This is a very competitive card for this game. You'd be very pleased using it. And our last game here is Dirt Rally, with an average of 89 FPS and the 1% lows were at 58. This game performs flawlessly with this card. I was really surprised how well these games performed for such an older card. It goes to show how well AMD has optimized the drivers over the years, and is definitely worth keeping an eye out if you do want a cheap budget card. This card performs really well for the money, and I highly recommend it if you can find it anywhere from like $30 to $50. Even the 270X, which is the rebranded, it's the same exact card, just with a different name. I highly recommend going for one of those. If you found this useful, please leave a like and drop a comment. I want to see what you guys think on the cheap graphics card. Anyway, hope you guys have a good day. Bye.